So weird. Do you guys want to go over some mount escape stuff, or what are some things that we can?
I feel like that's always something.
It's always good.
Yeah. Like.
Okay, so like a little refresher. Once I did the mount escape, I'll do that. I'll make you loosen back a little bit, Derek. But so you'll see stuff like trap and roll doesn't work. Like the trap and roll relies on them sucking on top, which is where like the idea of well, in order for it to be a sweep, you gotta have a guard. So it's just a reversal. But you'll see a lot of like self-defense concepts teaching the trap and roll, and that will work. But in those cases, though, they don't know Jiu Jitsu. But if you only work the stuff that works against the best people in the world, then if you have to use it in self-defense, if you use that, it's gonna work. But here's the thing, though, like self-defense context-wise, just like in fighting, if you're expecting to do things and not get hit, you don't understand what a fight is. You're gonna get hit. It's just gonna happen, right?
All right,
So,
Mark.
appreciate you, Mark. What I like to do is I bring my elbows in, and then I'm looking to like build up frames on one hip. So this could be both hands on the hip. This could just be my wrists stacking together, and like my hands like over the hip. What I'm immediately looking to do is I need my feet towards my butt, and then as I build this frame, I want to get this elbow to the inside of the knee. So as I do this here, I'm gonna bring myself forward, like crunching myself in, concaving my shoulders, and I'm gonna get off to my side as best I can. Once I'm here and I'm building up these frames, if they're gonna get on top, they're not looking for submissions. They're literally looking to try to like maintain the mount position. But as I build up this frame, I'm also framing like at this hip here, which is gonna make it far more difficult for them to chase my back. If I build up this frame here and I'm like this, there shouldn't be any back takes here. Especially if I'm not sitting here forever. So it's like my toes are active on the mat, I bring myself forward, I create this tension here like this. So I'm pressing with my forearm, pressing with my forearm here, so like elbows in front of the knee. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start like doing a leg extension, and then curling my heel to my butt. That's a violent like kip. Oh, my knee forgot. So I'm gonna kip, and then I'm gonna have this space here. I bring my bottom knee under their groin, my top knee goes to the outside as I press away, and now we're in single legs. So one of the other things that like even if the trap and roll works really well, the issue with the trap and roll is that when I get out of the mount, I'm in their close guard. So I get no points, and then I get into the most difficult guard in Jiu Jitsu to pass, which is close guard, right? If though I do the kipping escape, elbows in, getting off to the side, I'm escaping into single legs, and I have immediate offense. When I look for submission or sweep. So if we look at this, the elbow escape works against the best people in the world. And I immediately, in every variation of that escape, into a position of offense. Trap and roll doesn't work. It's like socialism and communism. Sounds great, but then in the end, you're kind of screwed. Even if it works. You know?
You're still in that position.
A horrible position.
It's gonna probably be a lot of you to get there.
So it's at the top of your guys' heads, facing me, and let's work some of those mount escapes there.
Okay.
And the other thing I do too is I like, everything's like concave in and tight. Just like this.
I think that's what I forgot. Mark had me. I forgot about this piece right here.
Yeah, so bring both your hands to one hip to your right,
All right here, right like this.
and then bring your elbows towards your ribs,
Like inside.
and then get off, and then bring your feet towards your butt. You're gonna get all the way to your right hip. Get all the way to your right hip, and try to work your right elbow in. And think about bringing almost your forehead to that knee all the way to your right. Yeah, there you go. So you're already there. And here you're gonna have to really kip, but I would still practice the kip. Stack your feet together, violently kick your legs away. And if you can already escape your bottom knee in, bring your, nope, that's your top knee. Yeah, so your bottom knee goes in,
Okay.
and then you bring that top knee towards your chest behind the knee.
Like this.
The top knee, so you'll be your left leg.
Left leg, okay.
Yeah, and then bring that foot to the hip.
Gotcha. Up to here.
Yeah,
Okay. Got it.
good. All right, let's scoot away a little bit. Let's go again. You don't always have to do the kip, but the kip is very helpful when you guys do this.
Okay.
Think about getting all the way up to your side, crunching yourself forward. Yeah, as much as you can think like chest towards your knee. There you go.
And then do we reframe up here?
You can start framing at the upper body, but what really helps with this frame too is your right knee is gonna pinch in a little bit towards that upper hip.
Okay.
And then your left knee towards your chest, behind the knee, and then make that space, you get single legs.
Okay.
Let's do it one more time, and then we'll let Derek give it a shot, and then we'll make it a little bit more difficult on the bottom person to escape. So I always think about like bringing my right elbow into the inside as I'm getting completely off to my right, and I'm bringing myself as tight as possible like a ball. There it is. There it is. Yep. All right, other Derek.
Here come bottom. So, yeah.
You can escape both. You're out of mount now. But once when I escape, I'm trying to get it to where like I have enough space to get my bottom knee in. So it's just my bottom knee.
Okay.
So my bottom knee that goes in, and then I make space for my upper body, because my shin in the front of my knee is gonna be able to push them away, and then I get single legs.
You don't want to take both of you do?
So it's not that you don't, but the risk to reward profile and what the person on top can do, it's not as much. So like if you bring that out, you could go butterfly. The trouble is that you're gonna give somebody who's like really aware of the position an opportunity instead of like folding pass, leg weave, and other pressure style passing. So you'll still achieve getting on a mount, but now you're still in a really tough position. You're not in a position of offense. You can if you get the butterfly hooks, but it's still gonna be really difficult.
All right.
I'm thinking about bringing my head down and thinking like almost balling it up. Good, and using that right elbow to frame that knee away. And if you escape both, I mean, if you escape both, it's not necessarily wrong, but I'm trying to escape one knee, and then I'm bringing my left knee up.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy for me to get back. If I take that
Here, look, let me show you one time, Derek.
Hold on.
All right, other Derek, get on that. So, so bring it here, and bring everything to the inside. Feet to my butt, I'm gonna get off to my side here like this, and I'm actually like crunching here. So I'm trying to bring myself as close as possible.
All right.
From here, like I'm framing at this hip, I'm framing at this, I'm putting tension. Once I have this tension, I wanna keep this tension built up. So then from here, we're gonna aggressively kip. I can't kip right now because of my knee, but what I could do is I'm going to like drive some of the weight off of this leg. I'm gonna kip myself away here, and then once I get myself back, this bottom knee goes in. So as I do this, I say concave, I'm engaging my core, knee in, and this needs to be outside. Once I get here, I like keep this kind of here, and I start driving with my knees to the inner thigh. Look how I move my upper body away. This knee is going behind the knee here. So as I go back, now I'm here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Then we have lots of offense from here.
I see.
If you've got like the ability to get both at the same time, just think about having one on the outside of that leg. You pull it right into the same position.
Yeah, I like pick one knee through, always one knee.
Always one.
Because then I have sweeps and submissions. As opposed to if I do successfully get butterfly, I only have sweeps. And with the butterfly guard is very dynamic. So it requires like a pretty high level understanding of like what the person on top can do. Because what your initial off balance or sweeps can be, is probably not gonna be the end result.
Okay.
Totally both. Think about like when you build that frame up. Here, go and look at me real quick without somebody on top again. So I'm here. I'm getting completely up, and I'm like really getting tight here like this. I keep this frame here, right here, and then I'm framing it like this. Feet to my butt, and then I'm going to try this variation where feet planted. So bottom leg's pinky toe, top leg is obviously the ball of my foot, and I'm going to press in this way. So I'm going to encourage the weight on the leg in front of me. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to kip out, and it should bring that knee behind me up. The kip's going to help with that too. So then only my bottom knee goes in, make that space, single legs. But again, if the only thing we get out of this, so we get both legs out, it's a far better improvement. Is that necessarily like what the end result we want is? Because we want to be able to get the single legs, just because we have better options from there. But the ultimate goal of like anything with jiu-jitsu is just to get better. So if you get better at actually getting out of mount, different ballgame. Because like I think the best guy we have here that escapes mount is Reagan. He like just got his blue belt in August, but like his kips are really freaking strong. Like I still chain to other offense, but he's getting out of mount, and it's kind of frustrating because like I don't let people out of mount. So it's my ego. But it's a good example of like anytime people get their hands to the hips, they're both going to be bend to collect one or both arms above that because they're going to get out of you. If they know what they're doing and they get their hands to your hips, they can get out. Every time. If they know. And I always operate with the assumption they know what they're doing. Let's go again. Limping around next weekend, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Good carry. I'll be like Yoda in your backpack. You can be my like my blocker, pushing people out of the way.
Exactly. You're out of line.
And for arm purposes, he's
Under.
over here. I'm under, right? Okay, under everything. Okay.
But if you go over and you start balling up, they're gonna pull their arm out. They don't want that arm to out. Chest down, ball up. There it is. Yep. 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 Nice. And the heavier you make one leg, the lighter the other leg is. Like give a fixed amount of weight. You know? It's like if like a variable volume of weight you can have in your feet. But I can have equal weight in both. I can have more in one, but it's always gonna be less than the other. So when they're on their knees like this, both are heavy. But if I can find a way to shift their weight a little this way, hip under this knee, look how this leg is lighter. See, maybe when you try to lift this leg, it's gonna be way tougher. You know? And it's more pronounced with like heavier people. Even if you're stronger because you're bigger, you're still heavier. But the nice thing about it is too is like there's something unique about somebody who's heavier. When you get more of their weight in that far leg, that far leg's gonna be heavier. For whatever reason, the other leg is gonna feel much lighter. Whether it's like perception because you're going from like one temperature to the next type deal, I don't know. But like the lighter guys, they generally feel the same. Like the weight distribution, the ability to move. So in a way, it's more. Can be considered more difficult with a bigger guy, but in reality, I think it's a lot easier. I mean, it's not really good. It's like when a bigger guy falls, the balance is not going to be as good as a smaller guy. Because I've seen smaller people do some wild stuff that should not work the way that goes. Balance, flexibility, strength with the right supplements. All up, yes. Much better. Good. There, let's have you get like 2 of them, and let's see what other questions in Jiu Jitsu we can go over. Okay, so think about driving your butt, like almost reset, climb up a little more there. I want you to like think about driving your butt towards the knee. Because you're like escaping your hips in a way that you're actually like going between the knees. So think about driving your butt like this way. Because then it's going to force this knee out. And if you're framing well, it's going to cause the weight to stay over there. The weight has to go somewhere. Interesting. Your left elbow, like it. So the angle I had, it was framing well, but then it disappeared, which means you're not framing into the hip. So you have both hands. You're framing well on this side, but this elbow here can also guide their weight this way. So it's like here, and I'm like creating this tension. So look at me like extending, like I don't know what muscle this is, like a strap or shoulder, but I'm like bringing my shoulder further away. So I'm like creating this space here. And I'm trying to encourage the weight to either stay over here or go over here and stay over there. Let's do it like one more time. Because like honestly, like you're already doing it better, but I don't want to get so lost in the weeds with it that it ends up feeling like it's too long.
Right. No, don't want that.
We got enough of that.
There. Oh, you're better. Yep. Keep pushing that leg off to your right. Now bring bottom leg in. Yep. And even if you get here, this is far better. Yeah, there you go. Because then everything you're gonna do with your body is to guide their weight to the leg that's furthest away from you. Yeah. Okay. Does that make sense? Yep. Cool.
I was stuck to that mountain and ended up like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it takes a lot of work to get the mount. It takes a lot of work to get the back. And I'm a firm believer that like performance is like all mindset. So like when I get these positions, we're not transitioning from there. So the only time I go from mount to the back is if I'm really low on points and low on time and the person was like tough to finish. But if I get mount, like they're not getting it out. Even if it can give up the back, I'm not taking it. Because in my mind, I dictate where the position goes. I put us in mount. I'm not gonna go to the back. I'm gonna keep you there. It's like when I fought that Frenchy guy, what was he, like the quarterfinal match in Vegas or whatever?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He tried to aggressively turn and go to his side, try to get out, try to go at the back. Nope. Kept out. Takes a little more effort than taking the back, but once you establish like I'm choosing where we go, it impacts the match, I feel like, a lot. Want to get a drink real quick? We're out of water bottles. I need to get some more water bottles up in here.
Amazon subscribe.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Boom. And then think about it.
Alright, so we've got landscapes. What are some other things? 'Cause I got an idea that towards the end we'll wrap up a little bit with. I want to answer some of your guys' questions.
You want to do like escapes, defense, like dealing with the back, going back.
Okay?
That's a theme for today.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Let's go and talk about that. Derek, you want to take my back?
Sure.
So, there is some submissions you can do with the arm what's under, but generally speaking, the only thing that can submit me is the arm over the shoulder. The primary offensive hand is the one over the shoulder. My primary defensive hand is going to be the opposite.
Okay.
So this right arm's over my shoulder. My left one is the one that can primarily stop the choke. So if I'm just here like this, there's a high probability I can stop the choke. If I'm like this and I don't have my left arm, there's a good shot he's gonna be able to submit me. Like it's gonna be very tough for me to stop it, right? Because it's all like this pulling type Russian. Here I can put tension down, and I have like it's so easy to defend. Those other things you do to counter, just like in anything, but it's much easier. So anytime I have this arm over the shoulder, I'm always looking to bring my thumb in, and I want to frame as much as I can towards the wrist. So I can't really get to the wrist because it's doing a good job defending it, but my hand goes over the support hand. Support hand is always the one that's under the armpit, the choking arm is always the one that's over the shoulder. So I'm here, right? Some people will be like this, isn't necessarily wrong, but once I get this grip, I'm gonna go from here, and I'm gonna immediately gonna look to grab outside of his arm. Here like this. what I'm gonna look to do is I'm gonna try to like keep tension down with my left hand, and then I'm gonna pull this arm down, and I'm gonna try to like almost like escape my shoulder, okay? Once I get here like this, what I'm gonna look to do is I'm gonna shrug, and I'm gonna lift this arm up, and I'm gonna try to get this arm to the other side of my head. So once I do this here, I go down, I shrug up, and then all I'm gonna look to do is bring my head to the other side, and I'm gonna pull this arm here like this. What I like to do now is I'm gonna drive my head to the other side, and I'm gonna use my feet to where then I'm gonna rotate my back towards the ground here like this, right? So the interesting thing about this is that in order for him to build height, he's gotta get this elbow to the ground. So he can't really build height and come up to mount. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this here, I'm gonna drive it off to the side, but then I'm gonna take my leg that's closest to him, I'm gonna bring it under my right leg, just like this. I'm gonna start rotating my hips, and I'm gonna bring myself up on top, and we're gonna end up in close guard. So this is one of like the first escapes that I think would be best for you guys to work. And it works like super stinking well. So like even if we're not setting up, let's say like we're off to the side here like this. Defending, controlling here. Bring my shoulder in here like this. I have my feet ready to kind of move myself, but I'm pulling down. So he's gonna be pulling obviously up naturally. So then I shrug, bring my head to the outside, and I'm pulling it down so I feel his armpit almost on my shoulder. So then I use my feet, drive up, go to the other side, and then as soon as I get here, I try to keep his arm over here, keep control of the gi so his elbow can't get to the mat. And then I'm just gonna take my leg as close to him, bring it under, start rotating myself, bringing myself up on top. Clear, bud? Sometimes when like you see me techniques, you're like, all right, then you go to do it and you're like, wait, what the frick am I doing? How do I use my hands? Oh, that's easy. Wait, what?
I love it.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Give me your shot. Are you recording right now? Okay. Probably live.
The world is watching.
Okay, so we seatbelt here.
And then you use your feet, drive up on, nice. And then turn and face him and get up on top. How's that, dude? Easy. What's crazy is how many folks don't understand the fundamentals of escaping like this because remember, like, Ethan and I,
You don't know how to escape. So.
Ethan and I had when we would go cross training, they would do situational rounds on the back. Nobody could control us, submit us.
Conceptually, this arm going over the head is the main thing, right?
It's a big one. And as long as you can keep that elbow in front of your chest, they don't have that arm bar option either.
Okay.
Because if they have the arm on the other side, you are at risk of an arm bar if their elbow goes from here to then behind your neck. Because then their forearm's framing and they can make space to the leg over an arm bar. But if you keep the elbow in front of your chest, there's no arm bar.
Okay.
You can't do it.
Gotcha.
It's like running without a leg. That's called hopping.
I'll have to, exactly. Okay. Right here, so. Let's see.
Think like the higher your elbow gets, the better frame down you have. And then your right hand's gonna grab outside the arm, grab the gi,
Out here.
a little higher if you can, yes. And then you're gonna pull that elbow down, yeah. So think about bringing your shoulder like into the arm just like you are. But don't turn like away from him.
Okay.
Good. Now you're gonna like pretty aggressively shrug your shoulders up, bring the elbow up, yes. And then bring your head up, yes. Think about really pulling down with that right arm. Yeah, because everything's contingent upon you controlling that arm. You're right, and then use your feet to rotate your hips towards the mat. No, other way,
Other way.
So think about getting your back
Oh,
flat.
so this one actually goes like.
It goes the other way. Yeah, here. So you're here. Then you take that left leg, bring it under your right leg, and turn it facing. So we're gonna do it again. So look, once I get here, my whole goal is to get my hips and shoulders flat to the ground. Then I take the leg that's closest to him and I bring it under my leg, so then I can rotate my hips towards him.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
That's what caused you.
Everything though is contingent upon.
You didn't have the hand.
No, but everything's contingent upon this, like, yes, defending the choke, but this grip on the gi. So when I hold here, I shrug, and then I bring it up and over, and I want to keep this hand in front of my chest because then his elbow is going to be in front of my chest. Now there's no arm bar. So then I take him to the other side where my head is, and then I'm going to try to get my hips and shoulders flat towards the ground, and then I turn and face him.
Okay. I think I got this mixed
We'll
up.
focus just on this escape because this is the only one you got. You're gonna have good success. Because then there's
We
some other
have
ones to work on. Yeah.
If you don't have anything, this is a lonely place.
So you can grab a little bit lower.
Lower.
A little bit lower.
More than that.
Yeah. Think about like just outside between the elbow and shoulder.
Okay. Right here.
Yeah. And then drive your head back a little bit too. Because like make your head go back, like almost like drive your head back. Yeah. See how, because then see how it makes his elbow more in front of your chest.
Yes.
Now use your feet to rotate your hips, the back of your hips towards the mat.
This one goes under this one, right?
No, almost. Yeah, but rotate your hips and shoulders flat to the ground. Yes. Now you can turn and face him.
Okay.
Make sense?
I think so.
I think the biggest thing I would think too is that your mindset when you're here. First thing I'm thinking about is always getting control of the choking hand.
Yeah, no, good joke.
Then I'm getting control of this guy. Getting my shoulder in, getting kind of secure and patient. Boom. Once you get over here, now I'm only thinking about getting my head to the non-choking side, back and hips flat, turning and facing them. So it's like that domino effect.
Okay.
Yeah, don't turn away. Keep your chest facing the center.
Okay, so just a shoulder shrug and keep my head this way.
Yeah, because if your shoulders in, they can't choke you. Yeah, there you go. Shrug up, over, and then drive your head back. Yeah, and then hit, and then back to your shoulder and hit towards the ground, and then turn and face it. Yeah. It's kind of an awkward, not a really normal movement way of getting up, but it works.
Okay, so yeah, that's good, sure.
Super well.
This is just gonna happen.
Mhm.
Mark's gonna end up on my back.
Yeah.
It's just where it gets to.
Just part of it, right?
That's part of it, yeah.
What other questions you guys got?
Nothing in particular. I normally come with some inventory.
It's okay.
I have ideas, but not anything deep. Sorry, this is really good.
Just means you're getting, a little more comfortable with what we're working. So then the idea is like, what other position would I like to improve in? And study and watch film there.
Mm-hmm.
Watch other athletes get inspiration, and just have a focus of like not winning or comfort, but just have a focus of like, okay, I've got this little side thing I'm working on, I'm trying to get better at, and then I'm also like working to get better at what we're working on in the study. And if that's your focus, then you're gonna do great, because that like I consider work, right? So when your goal becomes work, you get outcomes that everybody dreams about. But if your goal is the outcome, you're never gonna get there. And then if you're in a group of people that's all about outcomes, then you're gonna get a lot of false positives. Your perception of what is good is not. Which is where I've noticed that when people are like choosing a gym, they want to be somewhere they're comfortable with. So when they start somewhere else and the level's not as high, and then they come here and they hear good things, but if they've been in jiu-jitsu for a while, that transition is normally impossible. Because they're used to being in a certain pecking order, and then they're purple, brown belt, and they go with our white or blue belts, and they can't submit them from the back. They can't control them from the back. And they're getting submitted from the back. And just the level of perception is too much. Like, and obviously, like, it's not like all those things that people come here, we beat them up, we don't interact with them. It's like, no. Imagine you have a lot of experience in jiu-jitsu, you like the environment, but then you go with 140 pound and Ethan, and it's like smiling and laughing and destroying your jiu-jitsu without like being super competition mode, going super hard. Oh, and it's too well regulated. It's not fun. Yeah.
And this is what's going on, like he's had some kind of idea what I'm trying to do, but it didn't. Sorry, I'm having my back. I'm trying to make that.
So that takes a long time to get to, but that's also why jiu-jitsu I think is so fun. Because the harder something is to achieve, the more valuable it is. So like early stages, you're in that stage, but it's like you see the ocean, but you don't comprehend how deep it is. Then you start understanding how to swim, getting out there, then you start to kind of realize like how big the fish are out there, and you realize that the ocean's actually really deep. Like I didn't realize how deep it was. That's like blue belt. Then it's like you're out there and you're like, oh dude, like I got a pretty good idea of this. You're like one of the predators out there now or whatever. And then you're like a freaking, you know, I don't know, like a barracuda or tiger shark or something like that. And then you start getting better and better, and then you're basically like a great white shark running around, freaking huge, terrifying. Everybody thinks you're the most dangerous. And then when you get black belt level, you're an orca, which is the actual apex predator of the ocean, which toys with its food. And like, it's crazy. They are the apex predator in the ocean. But to my knowledge, there are no recorded deaths of humans before this in the wild. Well, when you have an animal with that level of intelligence, you put a human in captivity, they go into crazy too. But it's really weird the volume of accounts of orcas interacting with people in the wild, and even like keeping them relatively safe, similar to like dude, they eat sharks, they eat their liver, they kill them, they still don't know where it's at, they get the liver out, they teach each other, they all have different like what they would define as speech patterns where they communicate, different hunting patterns, like really bizarre. Like it's a wild animal to study. But then there's the balance too of continuing to improve. Like I had one of the guys that bought my above art instructor, I was talking to him about some of the concepts of position. And one of the things I was talking about was contradictory to what Keenan has taught like decades ago. Not quite decades, probably like 8 or 9 years ago. The thing is, number one, information changes in dust. Like a bronze sword at one point was the peak of what military weaponry was. But you have to change what you're using once you start introducing in the M4, M16 tanks. It doesn't work the same, right? So like what happens is those guys are doing that long, and they just kind of like ride the wave. Then they go up against somebody who's a newer black belt that is like, yeah, I've got the stuff you've been working, but I've got a lot more tricks up my sleeve, and they get destroyed. You know? But it's all about like just honestly what mindset stuff you focus on. Like I don't believe like manifestation in the context of like if I think something's gonna happen, it's just gonna happen to me. But if you have that optimistic view that I understand that if I want these things and I focus only on the work, then there's a high probability those things are gonna come my direction. So if I have focus of like improving my level and I'm constantly paying attention to what's working, what's not, what are some other people doing, and I'm trying to innovate myself as opposed to trying to catch up, I'm actually trying to get ahead, and you keep that mindset, then yeah, those black belts actually get really scary. Because it's not those guys that scare me. I have developed a point, I really don't have somebody that I'm scared of. But the people that I pay attention to that do have kept me at the edge of my feet, like my heels, are the ones that won't tap. And it's shifting a mindset of like, I'm not trying to tap you, I'm trying to like injure you. So you can't do jiu-jitsu as well if you get out of this position. Well, what's even crazier is realizing that anybody can develop to that point, because I did. Like at 35, like in my 30s, I developed it to this point, which is crazy. So how this translates to you guys, you're not gonna probably be able to try to want to compete at the highest professional level, but you can get really great in a handful of positions. Because believe it or not, y'all got a lot of life to still live. That's a lot of possibility of jiu-jitsu, which means you're not probably gonna know the intricacies of like the berimbolo or the matrix, or even some of the lapel like style of attacks that they implement. But dude, you get someone, even me, Ethan, or like, shoot, from the look at things and everything or whatever, Lincoln's gonna be a big kid. He's 109 pounds now. And that boy is like thick, dude. Like he got my wife's side of the family's genetics. He's probably gonna be 200 plus pounds. Now overall, jiu-jitsu wise, because he trains a lot, he's gonna be training probably more as he gets older. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to like keep up with everything that he does. But if you do the things I'm talking about, you guys get him in positions you're familiar with, you are gonna be able to score on him and minimally give him really difficult rounds and really good training. And I think people miss the value of that, of understanding that like when you look at a football team, it's not the quarterback that makes them win. It's the team as a whole. It's the training staff, it's the coaches, it's the people that are like within the organization that we don't even hear and see. So then it's like you realize, oh, I'm not just doing jiu-jitsu for myself, like I'm a part of like a real team to where like a kid, fast forwarding Lincoln to like, let's say 10 years from now when he's 19, that's competing at probably, if he still loves it like he does, at a professional level, you can contribute to his success. Like people don't understand the value. Imagine like freaking, I don't know, Tom Brady, and you help him get better. You're not gonna get the glory for it, but you're gonna get the enjoyment of watching one of your teammates have that level of success. And that, I would argue, is far crazier. Because that dopamine response you get when you win feels the exact same, and I would argue better when you watch your teammates do it. Or someone you care about do it. Because at a tournament, you can experience it once. Maybe 5 times if you have 5 matches or whatever it is. But when you're at a tournament, how many of your teammates are competing? So it's like again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And it's a different level when you know you're their training partner and you've contributed and helped them. Because believe it or not, this lesson is helping me also get better too. As I'm having to think of more creative ways to describe like what I'm doing to escape mouth, to escape the back, to do these things. Like wipeouts helping me get better at jiu-jitsu. You may not see and feel that, but there is like this saying that like if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu faster, teach it. Because I can't, I don't recall what it's like being a wider blue belt to know what I would be thinking. Because right now I know what I know. Like I don't remember not knowing some of those things. It's like think about when you guys are being a parent and trying to teach your kids stuff. It's hard to remember to be empathetic, to know what they're feeling. Because that's like, dude, you should know that. Don't put your hand on the stove. Like, why would you say that back to your sister? It's going to only make it worse. Yeah. They're going to keep it. Yeah, they're bugging you for attention. Just ignore them. You can either ignore them and suffer a little bit more for 5-10 minutes, and then it's done, or you can antagonize bad people, get in trouble. Then we've got like hours of stress. Logically, to adults, that makes sense, and we get frustrated because it's so easy to understand. But then if you think empathetically in your kid's shoes, understand how they will process information, they've not been doing it very long, then you have to really adjust your teaching style to your kids. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. Some of these concepts to me, like, if I take out, I feel like some of the, like, empathy that I have, like, it's so simple. Like, why would you think not to frame it? Like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna pass that time. It's so much easier. But if you don't know those concepts, how would you know that?
Yeah.
You know? So, anyways, any other questions, guys? Alright, I'm gonna kill the video real quick, and then I got a couple ideas for some stuff.